Welcome everyone. Namaskar. May I request all the panelists to please switch on your cameras, please. And this is the Higher and Technical Education Summit happening virtually by IELTS. I welcome Dr. Pankaj Sharma. I can see Amit Atre. Welcome. I can see Amit. Hi, Amit and Silky. Welcome, Silky Jain. Thank you for joining. So as we start, like other speakers are joining us, let me request each of the panelists to please give a brief introduction about yourself, one line or two line, and then we start the session while others are joining. So let me request Silky Jain to give an introduction first.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for keep inviting Tulaz and me on your platform. It's a great deal that we are having such online virtual classes again and again. So yeah, I am Silky Jain Marwa. I'm the executive director of a college based out of Dehradun in the name of Tulaz Institute. And we have graduation courses like a BBA, BTech, BSc Agriculture, BJMC, Masscom, and many other courses. Of course, with some PG courses which involve MBA, MCA, MTech. And I think we are all geared up to start our new session online. And thank you all the panelists. Let's have a great session today.
Right. Welcome, Silky. May I request Amit, full Chief Marketing Officer, Ansal University, Haryana, to give a small intro about yourself.
Hi, good evening to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Ravi, for inviting on this panel discussion. As you mentioned, I look after the marketing and admissions initiatives at Ansal University. We're right in the heart of Gurgaon, and I've been associated with the management to take the brand to the next level altogether. So it's an exciting time, and I look forward to a great discussion right now.
Welcome, Amit. Requesting the other Amit here. Here's Amit Atri, Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Relations, Jaipur Institute of Management. Amit, please introduce.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. All the panelists, my fellow panelists, Mr. Ravi, and participants. These are difficult times for everybody, including the education industry, and there are a lot of disruptions. So I take care of the marketing and the corporate relations of Jaipuria Group. We have 4 campuses at Lucknow, Jaipur, Noida, and Indore. And plus we have 31 schools, mostly in UP and Bihar. So I take care of the institutions part and hope to have a learning experience here today.
Great. Welcome, Amit. And let me welcome Dr. Pankaj Sharma, Director Admissions and Outreach, SRM University, Haryana.
Welcome. Yeah, very good evening, Mr. Ravi, and to all the panelists. I think it's a very good platform we are sharing. I'm into last 22 years, I got a work experience, and last 12 years into higher education. And this is really very interesting, very challenging time for the students as well as for the universities. But I represent SRM Group. We are into last 50 years into education. We have 4 universities and 22 institutions. I'm taking care of the Haryana Sonipat campus. And I believe that when there is a problem, there's a solution also. That's the reason we all are here. And I think students and parents listening to all of us, you will have a lot of clarity because we have not stopped our operation in SRM Group. We had our classes, only the mode changes, and this discussion we are going to have, I think this will give more clarity and we will have a lot of solutions because everybody is going to contribute what we are doing at their respective campuses. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ravi.
Sure. So let me request each of the panelists to first talk about the challenges in these times in terms of admissions. This session is focused on admissions and enrollments. So, in the second part of the discussion, we will ask about what are the opportunities or how are you like dealing with these challenges. So, first round is about challenges. So, and requesting each of the panelists to speak maximum 4 minutes each, and so that we can take audience questions also later on. So, let me request Silky, Jan, your experience on like seeing these challenging times, and how are what are the uh, issues you are seeing in these times in admissions.
So I think, Ravi, we as Tulaz are blessed, first of all, to be in a kind of a location which is Dehradun, which itself has been I should say, benefit for us. Geographically, we are very good placed. And Tulaz campus is in the outskirts of Dehradun and with lowest per square mile, I should say, the COVID infection. And because we are not a one building campus, we are open and a sprawling campus. So we have adequate amount of opportunities for social distancing. So that's, of course, the first plus point which we are showcasing in terms of admissions, and also for the students who are already studying with us. But of course, we have also recognized the challenges and already working on it. So we have already upgraded our in-house medical facilities, have been upgraded. Sanitization of every nook and corner of the campus is happening daily. Thermal scanning is happening while we are entering the campus. And we have also thought of one student on one bench kind of a concept we will be introducing if we are starting the campus in this condition. And of course, we are trying to have some immunity boosters in the diet of the students, whether we are in the COVID situation or we are not in the COVID situation, because ultimately we have to have a good immunity. And of course, we have created a task force which is there not just to implement or police, but also educate the people that what exactly is the situation going on. And I think we are blessed to have a great team, and thanks to our admin team, that we are a COVID free campus as of now. But coming on to the admission side, of course, there were difficulties when we had just touched March, because examinations were not done, class 12th result was not coming out, JEE examination is still in the pending situation. But I think collectively, India, be it universities or colleges, have taken a stand that we are going to be admitting students on the class 12th results this time. So I think that because there was no clarity in the past time, just after the examination result of class 12th, much clarity has come into the picture. So we have seen a lot of attraction in the students now, and students and parents both are now understanding that, of course, this is not a shortcoming situation. At least till December, we are going to be studying this way. So I think admissions and everything, and of course, I forgot to mention one point, we are blessed to have good alumni also. And in this COVID situation, I think we are seeing a lot of attraction and referral from the alumni perspective, because they have been a part of the campus. They have seen how we take care of the students. So that is also playing a very, very important role for us. So yeah, we hope for the good admissions also.
Excellent. Excellent inputs, Silky. You have touched all the aspects in terms of the new safety norms, and you also talked about the alumni relations, which is a
Right.
very important aspect. Let me request Dr. Pankaj Sharma from SRM University to talk about your experience of how are you seeing the situation.
Yeah, I think as far as there are two phases. One is the admissions. This year is I will say, is an opportunity for the student. This is the longest admission cycle we are experiencing, because last year the result came out on 3rd of May. This year on 13th of July. So I am very positive the next 70 days or 60 days in terms of admissions, because things are moving now. We invited students and parents for the campus visit. The location, I think we are very well placed, very well connected with Delhi NCR. So students are coming from Delhi NCR and Haryana. Even last Saturday, there was one student from Agra. So now that is something is really happening. Things are moving. So we are very positive. And I just emphasize on four things here. One is I just short form is a EPI. A is awareness, because awareness is important. Government is doing a lot of things. When you're calling someone on a mobile, you always hear about this corona. So corona is something everybody is aware. Even a 2 year child, 3 year child, they are also aware what is a corona because of this mask and all. Second is the plan. I think it is important to have a very concrete plan whenever you are doing a opening of the university, whether it is online or face to face, maintaining the social distancing. That is important. We are ready for that. And third is the involvement. You need to involve the people. And this is something student, parents, starting from student and parent, then you have faculty members, then you have staff. Even the person who is, let's say, peon of the any peon department of peon or the gatekeeper, the entry level employee or the senior person, this involvement is very important. And the fourth step is execution. Because if you involve, don't execute. So these four things are very important. And as SRM University, we have conducted all the online classes. We have even conducted the exams for our students. We are very positive. We are prepared. We are ready. We will be starting our classes from 18th of August. It's again online. And we have more than 60 courses, let's say ranging from engineering to BA, English honors or psychology honors and hotel management, where you need to have a lot of practical requirement. So, but we have a lot of arrangements. I really thanks to the technology. That is really we are driving, and I am very positive. I can see the smiling faces of all the panelists. So they have also something to share good things. As of now, thank you. And I just request Mr. Ravi to go to the second panelist. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. Let me go to Amit Full from Ansel University.
Yes, hi. I also have a similar sort of an experience to share. And I'll start by saying, I particularly feel that higher education industry is the most dynamic industry when it comes to the marketing strategies that are needed to be adopted. Because every month your strategy is different depending upon the course that is being marketed. Accordingly, you have to adopt to various platforms to reach out to the right target audiences. The whole admission cycle when it comes to the university aspect is a 12-month cycle, and it is divided across two phases as per me. The phase which is the first phase before the results are announced, where a lot of brand penetration is going on in the market. You're reaching out to the target audiences through outreach programs. And then once the results are announced is when you go aggressive and reach out to various mediums of doing advertisements. In the first phase, fortunately for us, in spite of all the challenges, I think we started very early this time around. We started for this year's admission in the month of November in 2019 itself. And starting from a lot of digital campaigns right from at that stage till the time we reached the month of March. From March onwards, we had to drastically improvise on our existing strategy. We moved completely on digital, and a lot of digital campaigns have been initiated for each and every program. Remarketing campaigns are going alongside that. And of course, the challenges remain constant for everybody. You're having challenges where the entrance examinations have been postponed, the results have just been announced. There is still no clarity in terms of certain entrance examination, their results and things like that. And I do agree with Dr. Pankaj as well. This will be the longest admission cycle for Indian higher education industry as such. And it is an opportunity in various ways, not only for the students, but also for universities to improvise further and utilize this challenge as an opportunity to develop certain new courses, to reach out to the right target audiences across India, through various means. That is exactly what we are also focusing in Ansel University. We have an excellent location ourselves. We're right in the heart of downtown Gurgaon on Golf Course Road. So yes, from student accommodation point of view, from all the protocols that have been maintained in the campus, we are doing all the right things as per the guidelines that are issued. And going forward, all these things will be implemented across all schools so that the students get the maximum benefit out of that. So yes, I think that has been our experience so far.
Great input, Samit. Thanks for that. Let me request Amit Atri to please.
In terms of the panel, I am the only one whose institute has only one program, that is the postgraduate diploma program, which is equivalent to an MBA. So we have a different view. In India, the education system is a bit different. When you talk about options after 12th, students have option of going to a university. So there is no mindset of probably dropping a year, apart from people who wants to pursue for maybe IIT. Apart from that, there is no trend of dropping a year. So in terms of a university system, I do not see there would be a lot of issues in terms of enrollments, because students have to go somewhere or the other. So if even if you see the schools, people are not dropping out of schools. They are going ahead with online learning, even if they like it or not, right? But in terms of only a PGDM program or an MBA program, only a master programs, yes, the people have various options. They also have a choice of dropping out. Secondly, in terms of a catchment area, a PGDM institute like us has a much bigger catchment area in terms of the reach. So we have students from Jammu Kashmir to students from Karnataka, West Bengal, Assam. So there are students who are not probably willing to travel. So even if the government allows that we can open our institutes with all the safety precautions and everything from 17th or 15th of August, there will be a lot of students who are not willing to probably travel, right? So that is why we have to think of various ways how we can do that, and we are already doing that, and there are various things that we have already incorporated into our systems. One thing is we were already online in terms of our delivery and pedagogy, so there was no issue for us in terms of when the lockdown began. All the examinations, the balance of classes were all managed very well. Also in terms of placements, most of our placements were already done by that time when the time lockdown came. So many students had already joined their companies. Even during lockdown, we were able to place somewhere around 80 to 90 students. And during the lockdown, since 23rd of March, around 300 of our students have joined their companies, physically or virtually. I think that is a positive sign. But yes, especially for higher education, people who are only into a single program, yes, there are difficult times. It's not that easy.
Excellent inputs. That these are the hard times. And may I request Ashu Devan from BML Munjal University to briefly introduce yourself and also talk about the challenges of admissions in these times.
First of all, good evening, Mr. Gupta and everyone. Because of some technical glitches, I'm a little late. So excuse me for that. Second, now coming to the question directly, and I'll not take much of time that. It has been a difficult times, COVID. It was nothing normal which any one of us had ever seen, not even our father, grandfathers. So it's definitely a difficult time. But as a university, I would say we are prepared. As Mr. Amit was mentioning, we also have gone online classes for our existing students. We had that pedagogy in place. And I would say one thing where it definitely helps us, all institutes here, which are established and had a little corporate backing. So going online wasn't tough for us. But I heard, though I came midway, I heard Mr. Amit stating that students coming from far off places, how it would become for them, or what were the difficult challenges, what government is trying to do for them. Yes, there would be many, because it's not that easy getting the first batch in, planning the induction, planning the total pedagogy. It's not easy. But if UGC permits, we would be opening our campuses. I think you all must be aware, the Yale is the first university to open their campus. They have a plan to do so, get everybody COVID test, all the students who are coming in, all the faculty coming in. So I think we need to cope up with all that.
Yeah, just to add, we have already started our batch for the second year. The classes are already on now from July, because as per AICTE guidelines, we could have started. So we have already started. And also for the new session, we have already started with their foundation program. So that is on.
So Amit, as you were saying that you have started, if you can talk about the challenges of starting physical classes in these situations?
So we have not started physically because that is not allowed by the government and AICT. It's all online at the
Online.
moment.
Sure.
Yes, it is all online at the moment. But let's see what the government says from 17th of August. We are expecting a guidelines by the end of July.
Excellent. And let me talk about that. Just in the previous session, this question was being discussed, and one of the panelists said that this crisis is also an opportunity. And the reasoning was that a lot of Indian students go to foreign countries for studies, and those students will probably study in India this year due to this crisis. So, is that true, or is it just a hypothesis? What's your view on this? Let me start with Silky.
So, Ravi, I think there's a mixed reaction towards it, because even I have a family of a couple of cousins who were planning to go abroad. So they are still planning to go abroad, because even in the USA or something, they all are starting their career, their curriculum online. So I think it's a very mixed approach, and it's too early for anyone to say, because I think every one of us is trying to be positive right now. But nevertheless, the opportunity which you are mentioning, definitely it's a big opportunity for India currently, because I see that online or being virtual was in every sector, right? And education was the only sector which was actually lagging behind. And because of this COVID situation, fortunately, though the situation is unfortunate, that education now has gone virtual. And I think this was a big demand of time. We always used to talk about that we are competing in terms of with other countries. I think now India will start competing with other industries, because now we have gone actually virtual. People have started understanding the meaning of online. So when you talk about the positivity current here, so I think now faculties have understood that how should we actually be teaching online. Students initially were having some kind of glitches, like internet is a problem, they were not knowing what devices. Now they actually know that okay, they will have to have an online gadget handy with them to go ahead. So I think yes, being in a negative situation, I still definitely see that this has somewhere been a very positive side to education industry at least. So I think that the only problem, of course, from the government side, which we still do not see that they have taken an intervention, is the internet connectivity, which I think all of us will agree, because students, like everyone was mentioning, we being into Dehradun, we have students from all the 29 states coming from faraway places. But is internet good or not is again a question mark. So what we are lagging still is internet connectivity big time.
Sure. Great inputs, Sanket, Silky, about this connectivity issue, because still there are issues about connectivity in many areas of the country. And let me ask Pankaj Sharma about this. Is there an opportunity for admissions of the students who are planning to go abroad?
I think that's a very interesting question. For admission people, there's always an opportunity. That's what I feel, right? And I was talking to some of the students and to my friends, those who are sending some students abroad. Now, what is their point of view? It is a mix. I agree with Silky. I think it is a mix kind of a thing, where the parents are very concerned. They don't want to send, because now everything is online. Even the foreign universities, they have started their online kind of a thing. The schedule is already out. So they're also doing these classes online, but the only point is, if they make it offline, let's say somewhere in the month of December, November, no idea. So some parents are very reluctant. They don't want to send their wards even in the November, December. So there I feel they are looking for options. That's one. But this is an opportunity for this year, but you don't know second year, these students will again make a shift. That is also, I got this message that they will take the admission in the first year, and then second year they will look for options.
Correct.
But yes, having said this, there's an opportunity this year.
Amit, your view on this? Are there any opportunities?
Yes, a lot of opportunities. In fact, specifically to your question regarding the students who were planning to go abroad and what is their stance right now, I think we have received, and our cream crowd over here is actually the students who do undergrad at our university, and then for postgrad they move out. So we have got that sort of a, we have got a captive audience in that sense. So our undergrad students who who were pursuing an option abroad are now considering taking an admission at our university itself for postgrad programs. So that's the one positive change that we have observed here. We, in fact, in the beginning of the year itself, we also took it as an opportunity to launch our Office for International Student Affairs, and we have thereby, connected with certain countries, made our own networks over there, and we have been receiving good amount of applications specifically for our creative courses, the courses which we have a legacy in, the creative, the courses where I think we have a great pedigree to offer in the field of art and architecture, in the field of design. For instance, we have received a lot of applications from Gulf, from Nepal, from Afghanistan, and things like that. So that sort of positive impact we have seen in the admission cycle this time. Overall, if you talk about the entire industry, yes, there are huge opportunities that are there. I've had some stint in the retail sector as well. Early 2000 is when we started to see the invent of omni-channel retail, where virtual and physical combination was there. And then slowly and steadily, I think that whole transition moved to entertainment industry, where with the invent of Netflix and Hotstar and etc., where a lot of opportunity came in, great content comes along. At the same time, a lot of work opportunity comes along for people who are behind the camera as well as in front of the camera. I think that whole paradigm shift is now entering into the education space. Because of this particular scenario, we feel that yes, we have already entered into it. But for a country like India, I think there is a lot more to be done in terms of having the right infrastructure in place to be able to implement it with all the SOPs in the right manner. I think that's where the challenge lies in India. It's a great opportunity. The whole Netflix world will be opened up for education. That's what I personally feel. But you have to see the challenge. The challenge is there are 40 million students in India who are enrolled for higher education. And that constitutes to about a total population of about 150 odd countries. So how well we are able to implement all those things in a seamless manner is the greatest challenge that will take about 10 years from now to implement it in the right way. As Silky mentioned, I think I'll endorse that. There is a lot of support that is still required from the government side when it comes to the e-digital infrastructure. Even today, we don't have penetration. There is a huge divide amongst the tier one cities as well as the rural areas when it comes to the internet connection, connectivity, the availability of computer. If you overall look at the budget of the government itself for e-digital infrastructure, the budget last year was around 600 plus crores. This year it was reduced to about 460 odd crores. So that's where I think a lot of efforts need to be going along within the government as well as the private sector side to make it a wholesome opportunity which we can all encash on.
Sure. Thanks, Amit, for highlighting this digital infrastructure. I think the good news in the lockdown has been that Reliance has got lots of investments of billions of dollars, and let's hope that that goes into investment of building digital infrastructure in the rural areas, which may be used for education. Let me request Amit Atri to talk about your views on the possible opportunity in this situation.
See, in terms of opportunities, the first point that Silky raised regarding acceptability of online, I feel that we were at least 10 years behind in that terms. And COVID has just fast forward us 10 years ahead in terms of acceptability of online learning, both by the faculty and by the students. So when the lockdown started, neither the students nor the faculty were ready to go online. Everybody wanted to go face to face. But now, when they have started to adapt and see how somebody can learn easily online, I think they are ready to accept it, and they are accepting it very well. I think that is a big positivity that has come into the education sector, especially in terms of reach of internet and everything. Obviously, that will take some time, and it cannot be fast forwarded that easily. And both government and private sector funding is required for that. I think Reliance Jio has done a lot of work in that regards, and especially at least the mobile connectivity has reached to a lot of people, and that too affordable. India is one of the most affordable countries in terms of mobile data. I think that is a positivity that I see. And let's see what else is in store for us in the next few months.
Let me request Ashu Devan from BML Munjal University.
Yeah, we need to understand one thing: the total learning process across the globe is active and passive. So, and the major share is held by a passive. So where we have to have an interaction. So now total changing because of COVID, going everything online. For a student, it's not that easy. I agree with Mr. Full that infra, or what Silky was mentioning, that infra definitely plays a role. Well, we had some students from Jammu where they only have 2G and 3G is not working there. Those problems are there. And I would say, yes, Government of India, Reliance, they'll have to play a big role in getting that in digital infra and everything in place. But right now, even from our ages, or even I would say, if we even go back to many years back, the model has been a passive learning. The students come to us, otherwise the information is just a click away. Today, we all have smartphones. We type anything in Google and it would be there. So the infra, the experience, which plays the more important role. And that's why today I feel when students, when Silky was talking about her cousins going abroad, why they aren't going abroad? Because they feel the hybrid model in India would be more fruitful than going to a Europe or American countries. So I think overall, eventually, I think everybody has made a very relevant point, Dr. Sharma and Atre also, that yes, we have moved because of the COVID has taken us to far places. What we were talking in 2015 about 2020, we used to talk, we'll go digital, we'll go online. And today it's a compulsion, everybody is going online. But I think it will take some time, and I definitely see opportunity, especially with all my dear friends, NRI in Middle East, who don't have much of choice now rather coming back to India. So we are also getting a lot of applications from Middle East, and I would say my NRI friends are helping us getting those international admissions. So hopefully for an Indian university, it should be a good time.
So Ashu, are you saying that this crisis is a blessing in disguise?
Definitely. I would say it's definitely a blessing in disguise. I don't know how many of us would be benefited of this, but it's definitely for an Indian education industry, it's a blessing in disguise. We are, everyone, we have definitely moved leaps and mountains to get into our technology basis. Whether we talk about today our LMS, today we talk about our content online, we are ready with it. And I would say a small coaching wala is also ready, and institutes and universities like ours are totally equipped to handle and give challenges to all Harvard and MIT in terms of content and going online.
Excellent. So let me ask you all the panel the last question, last round of question, which is that how is this crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, going to dramatically impact or change the Indian higher education ecosystem, perhaps forever? Like, what are the dramatic changes besides digital? Like, what all you are going to see in terms of admission, in terms of parent-teacher or the teacher-student interaction, the geographical issue, the economics issue, the cost issue, all that stuff. So, like, are there any dramatic changes like this crisis going to be? Let me start with Amit Full from Ansar University.
As I mentioned in the previous question, I think the paradigm shift is turning, the tables, and this is an opportunity for all the Indian higher education system to actually go ahead and compete with the global universities on that aspect. And all these aspects, I think students are there to take the benefit of it in the maximum way possible, because we are looking at huge economies of scale coming in, and the cost benefit definitely passes on to the student. For any university that has a global vision, and I'll just give an example from our university point of view, we've always gone ahead and done the best collaborations on specific creative programs with the world's best universities. We actually took an opportunity this time around during the pandemic itself. We went ahead and collaborated for an online program with Harvard Business School. That is the vision that our university always had in terms of going global with our overall teaching pedagogy. And the student gets the maximum benefit out of it, because you are not only being taught by the Indian experts, you're not only being learning from the Indian case study model, you're looking at a global perspective altogether, being taught by the best global professors around the world. So those sort of shifts we have seen in the way we are making use of the new tools for giving the right experience to the students, and that I believe needs to be carried on. Going forward, I was actually looking at certain other panelists giving certain views on the earlier sessions. Yes, I think going forward, blended learning is going to be the way going forward. Mix of physical as well as online education will be here to stay for some time. In fact, if we look at our business plan for the next 5-year roadmap we talk about, we have incorporated a parallel revenue center, which will be an online learning revenue center, which will be a balance between online as well as physical, and that is something which we are capturing for the next 5 years roadmap also. Yeah.
Very interesting. It's a dramatic change in the whole game actually. Requesting Dr. Pankaj Sharma to talk about what dramatic changes you are seeing.
I think it's a learning environment for everybody. Even if you consider as a student, is a learning new exposure to the student. If I consider higher education system, there are 3 stakeholders. One is the student, the majority is the student. As our university is student centric, like we have a lot of choice based credit system. So a lot of flexibility is there. If you talk about online means a lot of flexibility, comfortable, lot of things. So that is the stakeholder. One is the student. Second important stakeholder is parent. I think the role of a parent is also important, whether you are studying the UG program or PG program, because we always have this mindset, okay, online is happening, but the impact is not there. Because my both wards, they are in school. My daughter is in class 12 and son is in class 10. And they have regular classes starting from since 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30. But some of the parents, they have this kind of a mindset that why we have to pay fee because the classes are not happening. I think this is very important to make parents aware that there is no choice. You have to make it. And you have to also tell your student, you have to also monitor your students like they are studying in school. You have to do this in higher education, this point for time. And third stakeholder is faculty. That's again very important. I have seen many faculty members, I will not tell the name of the university colleges, giving a presentation is a nightmare for them. Because they still feel that just take chalk or give some assignment to the student, it's a real test for some of the faculty members. We are really glad that since we are into last 50 years, we know the nerve. Our founders are really very visionary. I just want to say one more thing here. There was only one option left, and it was letting go. We have no other option. We have to make it online. And I agree, when university opens, we have to have a blended kind of a solution, mix of online and offline. Maybe when we open the university, we have to go for, let's say, 2 rounds, maybe in phases, first morning or evening, or we will call some student for some days. That kind of a combination we have to do. For example, a course like BA Psychology. In that case, maybe we'll go for 100% online, because we have to make that campus balance also in terms of students and faculty. Engineering and practicals, we need to call student in some. That is combination we have to do, because this corona is not going to anywhere for a couple of months. But yes, I just want to say one thing, we have to make our processes corona free. I always say to all the parents, we have a corona free admission process. Everything is online. And I have also seen many student, parent, they have never done this online process. They always believe if you are into core admissions, you will have some bookshops where parents are taking offline forms right now. Even that is also going on, but this online forms or offline forms because of the WhatsApp, that bookshop or that parent is sending on a WhatsApp because they are not making it online. So there are a lot of experiments are going on. I can see or I've experienced there's a very learning environment. So we have to enjoy this. We have to really, a lot of patience we should have. We have to support each other. I know there's a competition. If someone is looking for a design and I don't have that course, I will ask Amit, I have one student for you. I think that kind of approach we should adopt in this pandemic time. Thank you.
Right points, Dr. Pankaj. Good to know that you have a corona-free admission process. Great point. Silky, your opinion, your views. You are on mute, Silky.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I think right now, I think every one of us being in this education industry, especially the stakeholders that Pankaj was talking about, need to understand there's no manual to come out of this shit. I'm sorry to use this word as here on this panel, but yes, of course, we are living in a shitty world right now. We do not know what is going to happen next. I think we all need to be positive, and if we are positive, we are going to convert this time and we're going to kill this tough time. So everyone, of course, has understood and is also understanding, if not fully, that time has changed. And we, of course, have no other option but to interact virtually. And this is definitely one of those times where, of course, you also must be agreeing with that, that we have certain courses which completely can go online, where some courses which we still need blended learning to be there. But as far as I see, specifically for a course like BTech, maybe in mechanical engineering or civil engineering, I think time will have to shift a little bit online, but when, of course, the COVID situation gets fine, so the physically whatever disadvantages for the students which have happened, that the online education is, the practical is not happening. So the practical can be taken into consideration maybe in 2021. I think students should, first of all, right now, should be hand-holding should be done mentally. That is the first thing which is required. I think my team has been really doing a great job in that, because a kid just passing out of class 12th who has just started his life is actually going to be starting a life in the restrictions which we never started. So we will have to first put ourselves in his shoes also and understand what is he thinking. Because for him, passing out of class 12, entering into a school, into a college was something, a dreamy picture where he wanted to have interaction with his friends, where we wanted to play, where we wanted to excel in a couple of things, so which cannot happen right now. So our faculties, our teachers, our management, our staff, they all are being trained right now to put, first of all, in the shoes of the students. And then, of course, we need to understand empathy is very important. Concern is very important. So I think together, like all of our panelists has been speaking, we should be stressing on the points that yes, education, every course right now cannot be done online, and which is not a truth we should run away from. But we should also tell the students that whatever they're missing, that can be covered in the years to come, because we're just seeing this as a temporary situation. This is not going to be there for lifelong. So I think a lot of parent counseling, student counseling, teacher counseling is very important right now, because they should not be going into the pit that the life has gone like a waste or something they can never happen, because this is what we are right now facing. Many of our students which were from second year or third year, final years, or still, okay, they are still in a fine situation, but second year and third year students especially are thinking what will happen to their education. So we should tell them that, okay, you have taken the admission in the right college, we are there for you, we are not leaving, we are doing a good hand holding for them. So yeah, that's what I think, that this COVID situation, like we all of us has seen, it has taught us a lot of good things. We have learned to be online. We have learned to now face this tough time, I think no student, I think every parent was a shield to the students, that okay, I am there for you. But I think today's student, even in class 2, in class 10, 8 or 7th, have to act maturely because of this situation. So yeah, so I think let's all be first positive and take this time, kill this time as soon as possible. It should get over.
Great. Silky, thanks for highlighting the importance of the counseling here and empathy, which is very, very important. Amit, Atri, your views on the dramatic shift we are going to see.
See, in terms of dramatic shift, what I see is, and what is the need of the hour is collaboration between Indian institutes. We always look at foreign institutes for collaboration, for learning and all. But the situation as such is that every country is on its own now, right? There may be a lot of things we could have learned from US at one point of time, but there are a lot of things that we have to learn from each other during this time. So our collaboration between institutes within India is very, very important, that we all are missing at the moment. If I take the example of Morocco, the government has mandated that every university has to put up videos and PDF files, course contents and everything on a centralized platform so that everybody can use it and can learn from it. So let's say I am adapting to something which is beneficial to my students who are Indians. So they are equally applicable to all the other universities that are there in India. But something that maybe a foreign university in, let's say, Australia is doing may not be applicable to us right now, because Australia does not have that kind of COVID infection that we have. The mindset is different. The population density is different, right? The student mindset is also different. So it is very, very important that we collaborate with each other. We learn from our experiences. We share our experiences so that we all can grow together as an industry, and that will automatically benefit the student. Because if I only keep on saying online is good and every other university keeps on saying no, we have to go offline, we have to wait for that time, it will automatically create a lot of issues in terms of the mindset of a student or a parent. So if we have to be positive, all of us have to be positive. All of us have to say that yes, online is here to stay, and yes, the learning outcomes from online are not different from the learning outcomes of physical. Yes, there is a feel of the campus, the smell of the campus, and the eye contact or attention span. Yes, there are problems in online, but I think there are ways and there are solutions through which we can easily deal with them. There are all problems of bullying also online that schools are facing, and thus we have to find solutions to that. So collaboration within the country, within the education system is very, very important, so that we all can learn and we all can probably help our students to get to a better future.
Sure. Let me go to Ashu Diwan. I think give your concluding remarks, Ashu. We are almost at the end of the panel.
I totally agree with all the panelists, and because the last question was very interesting, so I'll just and my remarks will be from them. I agree. Collaboration, experience, flexibility, very important. But it's one more I would say I'd like to add here in this VUCA world. Whether it's today we are talking about the pandemic of COVID, and after a few years we'll be talking about any other virus. I think the experience matters. What I feel, it's long time back when the smartphones came into India. My father was not used to smartphones, and he was very hesitant in getting onto WhatsApp or Facebook. Today, I would say his screen time is much more than mine. So it's about the experience, what they feel, and if we are able to, I think the Silky made a very important point, and what Mr. Dr. Sharma was pointing out, that all the stakeholders we have to give them that experience, whether through counseling or through any other parameters, that yes, this experience of online learning would be as real as offline, and I think that will make a difference in this world.
Sure. So we will almost conclude here, and I will request each of the panelists to give one line or two on a line of positive thoughts, which we should like think about in these situations. So let me start with Amit Full.
Positive thoughts are, the way I've been sharing, I've been discussing. I think this whole scenario is leading to a lot more opportunities. It is up to us how we are utilizing our resources in the best way, and with right collaborations and with the right, vision that we have. I think we can build up this whole platform. There is a long way to go, and with all these collective efforts, we can reach out to the best possible result.
Sure. Amit, Silky Jain. Yeah.
So I think my message to everyone would be that at Tulaz, we would like to encourage the students to overcome this biggest challenge, which is come in the form of COVID. And I think we're not just going to be focusing on finishing the course or just having a degree. I think we all are together in this race, and we'll fight back and come out as winners. So let's all the parents, students, and teachers relax. We are surely going to come out of this situation. It's just about the encouragement, which as an institution we need to bring amongst everyone. So Tulaz is definitely there.
Great. Fantastic. Amit Atri.
See, as a management institute, we train our students to adapt to change, to adapt to crisis, to manage crisis. And that learning has to come to us too. We also have to showcase to them that how well we have managed the crisis and the circumstances. And I think we have done quite well at Jaipurias, and that is why our students are back in campus in terms of online learning. Our students are back in campus in terms of living in the hostels, and our foundation classes for the first year are going well with a very, very positive feedback.
Fantastic. Dr. Pankaj Sharma.
I think we need to understand for every human being, there are three important junctions in the life. One is the school education, which they have already done that. Second is the higher education, which is really, we all are very supportive in terms of giving online education, a lot of learning opportunities. And third is the corporate world, where one has to start the career. I think this pandemic time, we are getting a lot of support from the corporate because we are running programs in association with IBM, TCS, Zappia, KPMG, and many more. They are calling us, they are saying, in case you want, we will address students, parents, because we understand this is a very high time. I think this is a very supportive, collaborative environment. One should just open his mindset for, it's for open for change. That is very much required at this point of time. Otherwise, this world is full of opportunities. You have a lot of good colleges, universities. Just explore. And I invite you on behalf of SRM University, if you want to visit campus, we are open for all 7 days. So you are most welcome. Thank you.
Fantastic, Pankaj Sharma. And last positive thoughts from Ashu Devan.
I would say remain positive, motivated, and go for a kill. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great. So, excellent panel and great ideas have been discussed here. I thank all of you for joining here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all the panelists. Great discussion. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.